The RTX 50 Super GPUs might not land until 2026, and that has everybody second guessing whether to buy now or to wait. But that's not all. PlayStation 6 leaks point to a detachable disk drive to keep physical games alive, and NVIDIA's new RTX 5080 cloud tier is already jammed with demand, and a modder turned a 24 gig RTX 4090 into a 48 gig beast. You know the drill. Let's get into it. All right, first up, PlayStation 6 rumors say that Sony isn't killing discs yet. Detachable drive, modular builds, and maybe cheaper versions. Let's take a peek. Yeah, that's right. PlayStation 6 is going to reportedly launch with a detachable disk drive keeping physical games alive. Are they doing this to be nice, or are they doing this to avoid blowback from folks? Because I would imagine that the death of the disk drive entirely is just around the corner, but not quite yet. Let's take a peek. PlayStation 6 to have detachable disk drive just like the PS5 refresh. That's right. Sony is reportedly planning to launch the PlayStation 6 with a detachable disk drive. The feature, first introduced midway through the PlayStation 5 generation, gave players the option to choose between. You could go obviously with the digital only model, or you could go with a system that supports discs. Obviously following the like the PS5 Slim approach, I would imagine, where the drive was modular and helped to cut costs in production and shipping and all of that good stuff. Good news if you are someone that likes physical media, because a detachable drive means, guess what? It's pretty self-explanatory. It means that physical games will not vanish for the next generation, and then you've got your big releases like GTA 6 that will probably be still offered on a disc. Sony's also expected to keep packaging options flexible, letting buyers choose digital console, bundle with the drive included, or the drive as an upgrade later, which I have questions on that upgrade later path, and more specifically what the pricing looks like on that. I'm very curious. Took a look at what some of the community is saying online on Reddit, sites like that. A little bit of relief that some people are showing. People with shelves of those PS4 and PS5 games are obviously want continuity into the next generation, which makes a whole lot of sense, but I would imagine that Sony would bundle this only on the higher end SKUs as the console is released. Cheapest version, I would imagine, I don't think it's that much of a stretch to make the assumption that those will be digital only, I would imagine. And I kind of like this move. I'm curious what you guys think. Let me know down below. Now, physical media still matters. You've got resale, collections, and then just the feeling of actually owning your own games is kind of a nice thing that we're straying further and further away from. Now, if the drive is an optional add-on, this is what I wanted to get to with the pricing on this. Sony kind of has to be careful with this to make sure it's not just a cash grab. If the base system feels somewhat incomplete without it, I'm sure fans will without fail roast them. And it makes sense business-wise, which I kind of get. You've got a lighter, simpler console, cheaper to ship worldwide, but curious, again, what you guys think. Let me know in the comments down below. Some people feel like this is Sony hedging a little bit. They want to push digital, obviously, but they don't want smoke. They don't want your smoke on this bad boy. They don't want the PR nightmare of killing discs outright. So kind of nice to see, but I'm going to be watching the bundle pricing closely on this one. If a drive add-on ends up being somewhat overpriced, it might feel a little bit like a bait and switch, but could be wrong. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Okay, let's be real. A lot of you either love coding, you want to learn coding, or you've at least thought about it because tech seems like the future. But the second that most of you dive into coding courses, you're met with big walls of text, hours of boring lectures, and by day 2, you're already burned out. Well, that's exactly why Boot.dev exists. Here's what's different. Boot.dev doesn't waste your time with videos that you're gonna forget 10 minutes later. The whole platform is built around actually doing the work. You log in, you're coding right away, hands-on, inside your browser. It's not theory, it's practice. And that practice is structured. You start with the fundamentals. You've got Python, JavaScript, computer science basics, but it's not random exercises that go nowhere. Every challenge builds into projects. So when you're done, you've got something to point at and say, yeah, I actually built this. And check this out. Boot.dev just launched something called the Training Grounds. This is basically where you sharpen your sword. You've got infinite coding challenges you can grind on as much as you want. Maybe you're stuck on a concept, maybe you want extra practice, or maybe you're the kind of person that just loves reps. Training Grounds is where you level up. It's like having a weight room for your brain. You don't leave until the muscles are built, except in this case, it's logic, problem solving, and actual coding skill. And that's what separates people who kind of know coding from people who can actually do it. Inside Boot.dev, the dashboard is clean, it's simple, and it's to the point. You can literally see your progress laid out, and every section is interactive. No fluff. You're writing code, solving problems, and moving forward at your own pace. And here's the thing that I love. Boot.dev forces you to engage. You can't just sit back, zone out, and let a video play in the background. If you want this skill, you gotta earn it. And Boot.dev gives you the structure to stay focused, but also the flexibility to move at your own speed. Coding is one of those skills that can completely change your life, whether you're chasing a better career, you want to build your own projects or business, or you're just sick of being the idea guy who never actually builds anything. This is the step, and Boot.dev makes sure you stick with it because it feels more like a game than a classroom. All right, so here's the move. Head to Boot.dev and use my code ZachShut, and you'll get a discount on a full year of access. That includes all the courses, all the projects, and now the training grounds to push yourself as far as you want. Don't just keep talking about learning to code. Go and actually do it. Boot.dev makes it possible. All right, next up, NVIDIA's cloud service just added an RTX 5080 tier. Looks great on paper, but users are already kind of stuck waiting. Let's dig into this. That's right, NVIDIA rolls out GeForce NOW RTX 5080 tier. A service is hit by quite high demand on launch, which I'm not super surprised by. A lot of people want to take advantage of that extra power with their GeForce NOW subscriptions. NVIDIA has started rolling out the GeForce RTX 5080 performance tier for GeForce NOW Ultimate members. You gotta be in the Ultimate plan to take advantage of the brand new Blackwell cards on GeForce NOW. The new Blackwell-based RTX SUPER servers deliver up to 62 T-flops of compute power, 48 gigabytes of memory, which gets you 5K 120 FPS streaming and up to 360 FPS with NVIDIA Reflex and DLSS4 frame gen support. That sweet DLSS4 frame gen that everybody loves. The new tier also adds, and this is kind of cool, arguably, the install to play feature, which means that you can take your current Steam Cloud Play titles and kind of expands the available library that is available to you. NVIDIA is also introducing session storage with 100 gigabytes included for premium members and optional upgrades up to one whole entire big old terabyte. All right, so what does that mean, this rolling out on GeForce NOW, the new Blackwell tier? Well, this is what it means. It's 2.8 times faster frames with DLSS4, the 5K 120 FPS that I mentioned, streaming on PC and Mac up to 360 FPS with NVIDIA Reflex, and that cinematic quality streaming for improved visuals and high frame rates on your Steam Deck and supported LG TVs as well. Pricing, $20 a month with the new 12-month Ultimate plan available for $199.99. New annual subscribers also get a copy of Borderlands 4, which is kind of fun. Community feedback, let's take a look at it. Spike in demand, that kind of disrupted some of the GeForce NOW services just a couple days ago. Users were unable to load the app, start games. NVIDIA is working on that issue. Serious upgrade for cloud gaming though. This is the first time that people are saying that it feels, and I don't know how true this is, I haven't done it myself. I haven't used GeForce NOW personally, so I'm just relying on what the community is saying online, and then obviously what you have to say as well if you're a GeForce NOW subscriber. This is the first time that people are saying that it feels almost like it's running a GPU locally, which is kind of fun in theory. Scary for a guy that owns a computer company. But reality check on this one is clear. You've got network hiccups, compression artifacts. Those are still going to be deal breakers for hardcore gamers. Curious to see what you guys have seen as well. It is great to see the cloud finally pushing into serious performance territory, but man, if capacity can't keep up and subscriptions rise, I wouldn't imagine that the hype would last too long, but we'll see where things go. And you also have some folks online that are a little bit worried even, saying that this could chip away at DIY PC culture, more people stream games, GPU demand could shift. Those are some concerns as well. I'm not really as worried about that at this point, to be totally transparent with you. But still, for travelers or people that can't stomach GPU prices right now, which is actually, it's a lot of people, this might be the best option on the table right now. Let me know if you would consider GeForce NOW with the brand new RTX 5080 performance being rolled out. Let me know in the comments down below. Now we have a 4090 that has been pushed from 24 gigs of VRAM to 48 gigs. It's wild, it's risky, and you know what? It might just be genius, but I'll let you decide. Let's dig into this a little bit more. Modder turns the RTX 4090 24 gig into a 48 gigabyte card. That is a big boy. Let's check this mod out. Here's some photos, video as well. Check it out. You can see what's going on here. This is a new video from Vic On. This is a modern repair specialist who shows how to modify graphics cards to do things like expanding the memory or repair them, which oftentimes happens with cards. The latest demonstration is interesting not only because of his experience, but it also reveals how companies in China modify cards to support larger memory capacities. We've talked about this in the past as well. Obviously, there's a huge need for AI inference and cards that are capable of handling high AI workloads, and the VRAM on those cards goes hand in hand with those tasks. So a lot of this modification that's happening in China has to do with modifying the VRAM, sometimes turning cards into blower style cards just to squeeze extra performance out of it as well when it comes to the AI inference workload side of things. Now, in the past, one method involved physically changing binary straps on the PCB to force the GPU BIOS into recognizing faster or denser memory. That's how a lot of of 30 series memory mods appeared, at one point becoming a frequent topic in the news. While the strapping method is not simple for GPU service shops, relatively straightforward, and it gives you an idea on how these cards would perform with that extra memory. So it is kind of fun to see mods like this because they typically come hand in hand with some handy benchmarks as well. The modifications done by Chinese AI firms on high-end RTX 3090 cards were more complex. For the first time, VicOn explained how this was achieved. The process stems from a leaked NVIDIA BIOS for Ada generation cards, which revealed a way to partially disable memory controllers. This made it possible for modders and repair shops to alter the BIOS to support different capacities. For example, 20 gigabytes instead of 24 gigabytes. Apparently, this method also works to enable larger capacities as well. This is literally peak enthusiast energy. You take the best gaming GPU out there and you turn it into a mini workstation card. And obviously, this isn't going to be plug and play, right? It takes a lot of hacks, including cooling, firmware hacks, and willingness to kill your warranty as well. Most people definitely shouldn't try this, but let's dig into the actual process of how this is done. However, BIOS modifications alone are not enough with physical PCBs. This is where large-scale industrial board manufacturing plays a role. Without access to such production capacity, these modifications would not make much sense. So let's get to the 4090, right? VicOn demonstrated the entire process using an MSI RTX 4090 SUPER card and a replacement PCB and cooler sourced from China for 15,000 rubles, with the card itself costing 180,000 rubles. Let's put that in perspective for our US audience. Quick mental math that I'm definitely doing in my head and I didn't just Google, about $180 USD for the actual modification. That's that PCB and cooler that's sourced from China. Now, the only missing parts were the additional 12 GDDR6X modules, each of those priced at 2,000 rubles. Let me do this math in my head really quick. $23.81 USD. So let's talk about full cost, right? You're talking about the card itself, the memory modules, and then obviously all of the cooling, the PCB and coolers sourced from China, around $2,500, just a hair over that, compared to around $3,400 for the actual pre-modded cards from China. VicOn noted that he already had memory chips available, so his costs obviously came in a little bit lower there. Price doesn't include tools, stencils, other equipment, and all of the sweat that you will perspire actually performing GPU surgery like this. So once you got the custom board in hand, the procedure, fairly straightforward. GPU and memory are desoldered and then reinstalled onto the new PCB. VicOn observed that the newer PCB design included changes such as additional power stages. He also pointed out a sign of improper GPU removal. If a gas burner is used instead of a heating bed, the GPU packaging turns brown. And this is also brought up in the article as well, which is kind of funny. This is a throwback to yellow memory from crypto operations. You can see the side-by-side here. Tech Lab talked about used mining cards from a company in Brazil, and they had a different epoxy color than brand new cards, and they quickly found out, oop, these were used in GPU mining. It's worth remembering that these mods affect the consumer market because companies purchase a whole ton of 4090s, including from secondhand market, to modify for those oh so in need AI applications. As a result, and this is the bad part of all of this, is that fewer cards actually reach gamers, and what's worse is stripped boards sometimes reappear in the secondhand market where people who maybe don't know what to look for on these cards end up buying them, and they're like, wait, this was an AI card that was used in an actual production. That kind of sucks. The modification was successful, worked as intended, and as you can see from the video here, it seems to work just fine. Total cost around 20% lower than buying a pre-modded 4090 48 gigabyte card directly from China. Do you think that moves like this put a little bit of pressure on NVIDIA, if at all? Either offer bigger VRAM capacities right at purchase or force people to perform GPU surgery. This is where we're at. It's kind of fun. Now, I would imagine for AI tinkerers that can't afford Quadro cards or workstation cards, this might be a solution that maybe makes sense if you have the fortitude to do something like this. It's a creative way to compete, I suppose, at the very least. Now, for gamers, I wouldn't get like massively excited though. Doubling VRAM is not going to double your FPS, but it's niche and it's kind of cool to see. Let me know what you guys think about this. Are you brave enough to perform GPU surgery? Have you performed GPU surgery? Let me know in the comments down below. And finally, the RTX 50 SUPER series looks like, ooh, that bad boy's gonna be delayed until CES 2026. I don't wanna say I told you so, but I told you so. That's a big shift, and gamers are not super happy about this. A lot of confused people out there. Let's take a peek. That's right. Everyone wants to know about the 50 series card launch. Well, guess what? Unlikely before CES of 2026, which is kind of, that's what I was thinking. I think that's kind of what everyone was thinking. There was a whole lot of murmuring and speculation about maybe super cards come just in time for the holidays, which, to be totally transparent with you, would have probably been a train wreck on the market itself. I don't know if availability would have even been there had you wanted to get one for the holidays, if they were in fact released then. Looks like now we're getting some more info in. Let's dig into it. RTX 50 SUPER, not anytime soon. It's believed to be in the Q1 2026 update. NVIDIA wants some cool stuff to talk about at CES. That's their stage to talk about about AI and also gaming cards. AI and also gaming cards, but mostly AI and also gaming cards. Recently, there was discussion about a potential early release for the GeForce RTX SUPER series for the 50 series. Check that out. Since no credible information is surfaced about the plans, that story didn't get covered a whole lot, but it was out there. In fact, I saw it all over the place. We talked about it, we speculated, and I had said a few times I would be fairly shocked if it didn't come out at CES of 2026. At this point, NVIDIA has not issued any major updates regarding the SUPER series. Company is in constant contact with board partners who need to know what the heck's going on. And no one's really got an update on that as of yet. Now you've got a hardware leaker, Hong Xing 2020, who has a solid track record and direct information from board partners, says that the SUPER is delayed. Wording here is confusing. Nothing can be delayed if, guess what? It wasn't even announced. I don't know how you can delay when no one's really talked about it, but nonetheless. Recent rumors went as far to suggest that release dates and pricing, but these claims are not supported by any documentation. NVIDIA doesn't share pricing info before launch. They keep a tight lip on that. So anything circulating online, and this is very important to remember, especially when we're talking about new releases and stuff, pure speculation, right? Now, we have got spec leaks, though. This is something that we've seen time and time again from various sources, and some of it seems to line up. I'd be more inclined to believe some of the spec leaks. We can take a look at it. You had leaks 3 months ago from Copite outlining specs for 3 planned variants. Those leaks indicated that most 50 Super models would simply receive upgraded memory using those 3GB GDDR7 modules, with only the 5070 Super said to gain more cores, 6400 CUDA cores compared to 6144 on the standard version. And then obviously these are all the rumors as well. You want to talk about specs. This is the one that I'm really looking at, is the 5080 Super. I think a lot of people are eyeing the 5080 Super as well, with 24 gigs of GDDR7 memory, 415 watt. This is all rumored, by the way, obviously. 450 watt TGP, 5070 Ti Super, 24 gigs, GDDR7, 350 watt, just shy of 9,000 CUDA cores though on that bad boy. And then the 5070 Super, 18 gigs, GDDR7, 275 watt TGP, 6,400 CUDA cores. So obviously leaks suggesting higher VRAM with up to 24 gigabytes of GDDR7 at the top end, and then you've got 18 gigabytes for the mid-range models. October 2025 was some rumored dates that I had heard. And I heard, oh, maybe it's November. And now we've all settled down and we've realized this is likely not happening until CES of 2026, which probably makes the most sense. And then you're seeing some interesting numbers when it comes to power consumption as well. Obviously, power consumption could rise on these cards. You've got faster 36 gigabit per second memory modules cited as part of the delay on why things have been pushed back on a thing that hasn't been announced. Community sentiment took a long look at Twitter and Reddit and what you guys are saying in YouTube comments all around the techosphere, if we're gonna call it that. I don't know if that's a real term or not. Some say that waiting's smart for supply and polish. Others call it frustrating after investing in their base 50 series cards. Curious where you guys fall on this though. Let me know in the comments down below. If you bought a 50 series already, does this feel like it's salt in the wound? Perhaps, you might see a better card 6 months after you purchase. Then again, a lot of these cards, I think if you're looking at buying them right now, still might be a good fit for you. It just kind of depends on your timeline, what you're rocking now, and how urgent it is to upgrade as well. The rumor mill flipping from October to maybe CES. That's kind of where we're at right now. And from NVIDIA's side, I think a CES reveal kind of makes sense. It's the biggest stage, so that makes a whole lot of sense. And then it also gives them that extra time to line up production for new memory modules as well. Audience is pretty torn on this, torn between patience and frustration. For me, I'd rather that they nail the launch, whatever that means, and dump half-baked cards that can't keep up. But let me know what you guys think. Availability is a whole other discussion as well. I'm curious what that looks like in 2026 when these cards are rumored to be coming out. We'll wait and see what happens. Let me know your predictions in the comments down below. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for today. If you haven't noticed, we got a brand new look here. The set has changed. I used to record these videos at my house, and then I realized I'd like to ideally leave work at work if at all possible. So we set up a little a setup here for me to make these videos for you guys. You'll probably see a whole lot more of this. This will change as we go. I have some cool stuff that I want to throw up on the wall there. Some like nice little Keychron keyboards and all the cool stuff. It's a setup like everybody else's. It's just mine. So welcome to it. This is at the Meta PC's office rather than at my home. So now I'll just use my home studio to do what I should be doing at home, which is playing games. And this weekend looks like a Borderlands 4 type of weekend. So let me know what you guys are playing this weekend. Thanks for watching, subscribing, and as always, we will see you again next time. Have a good one.